Arguably the biggest hurdle that we all face in our practice of meditation, Reiki Ryōhō, or whatever it may be, is the nature of the mind. It's the busyness of the mind and our attachments to the mind and the manifestations of those attachments in our body. And this is really the summation of the busyness and the way that we approach each of our days. If we think objectively about the way we live our life, most of our days are indeed just routine. We wake up in the morning, we do the same thing for our morning ritual, we go to work, we have the same family obligations, we eat at the same time, we rest at the same time. We move through our days with this repetition, and that repetition doesn't usually bake in any space or factor in any time for you to just sit, for you to just be. In Reiki Ryōhō, one of the most important aspects of the practice is your daily self-practice. And this importance can't be understated because it carves out a space in your day which you can turn inward. And as we turn inward, we recognize that the volume that the mind is shouting or the tension within which the body is holding itself, these are manifestations of the busyness of our day. They are states of being that are not our actual state of being. We indeed have an opportunity in these practices to return home, to return inward, to move into the self and cultivate stillness. If you've been following me here on YouTube, or if you're familiar with my work on RootsofLife.org, you'll know that meditation, Reiki Ryōhō, psychedelics, and mindfulness practices are very, very dear to me. Indeed, I've been engaging with these pretty much my whole life, and now a central point or a central focus of my life for decades. And what it's really helped me to discover in myself is that stillness is not abstract. It's not something that's relegated to yogis that go off on a mystical quest in the mountains. It's actually obtainable for everybody, for you, for me, for everybody. We just have to start finding the time to turn inward. We have to take a moment and face the mind and stand with the body so that we can just exist. Even when the mind is chattering away as it will, even when the body is resisting with pain and movement and frustration, everything that comes up, we learn to persist through that. And what I found in my own practice and what I find with my clients when I bring them through this similar journey is that stillness is something that we can achieve. We can cultivate it, we can find it, we can discover it in ourselves, and we can recognize that this is our true state of being. It's our home. It's where we're meant to return to. And indeed, this journey is the reason that I wrote my first book, Touching Silence, Energy, Stillness, and the Power to Heal. The content of this book and the journey that this book takes you on came out of my decades of practice and self-discovery. It came out of me wandering through the muck and traversing the inner forest of myself and moving through all the brush and the obstacles and the hurdles and overcoming these things as they present themselves, and slowly but surely recognizing that with each minor victory, with each extra day that I sit in my practice, with each extra fear or resistance or attachment that I faced, what was on the other side was an incrementally larger space of silence, of peace and stillness. And so it's my hope that through this book that you can find this writing to be your subtle guide, your quiet companion as you seek out that same level of stillness, that same space inside. It's this stillness in this space where true healing happens. It's when we let go of the mind and the body that we can actually just move with the creation of all things, that we can exist in our true state. And that true state cannot hold on to anything because everything is impermanent. Illness, our body, this life, this experience, all of it is impermanent. Our structured day keeps us from recognizing and making peace with impermanence. It makes us fight against impermanence. And so we hold on, we attach, and we suffer. So when we can see this impermanence clearly, then we can begin to cultivate a practice on the mat that moves with the nature of impermanence. And the nature of that impermanence is actually the flow of energy. It's the movement of the universal energy through all things, which everything is. And so instead of fighting against that current, we learn to release ourselves into that current. Indeed, this is how we were born. We were born with this same movement because we had no framework of attachment. And I think many of you will know this when you are in meditation, when you're in a state of flow. We are moving with the energy of the universe. We're at peace. and we are cultivating something that helps us to transition from moment to moment and recognize the movement of energy from form to formless. And that very movement from form to formless, that's when our sicknesses and our tensions and our frustrations, that's when they dissolve. The form that we hold on to is the summation of our attachments. The formlessness is the disillusion of those attachments. It's the surrendering of those attachments and recognizing that they are also impermanent. We're recognizing a practice or a space or an opportunity to move with the beauty of impermanence, because it allows us to shed our skin and our layers. It allows us to let go. And so what I talk about in this book, it's not about adding a new technique or a better practice or anything like that. It's about finding your own stillness. It's about reuniting with your true self. This is really the only journey there is. There can't be anything more important than seeking out you in your true state, in silence, in stillness. If we can meet ourselves there without all the shackles of attachment and belief, without the obstacles and the stressors of this world, but in reality just in pure uniform stillness inside the mind and the body, then that's where you really are. That's your true self. That's your formless self. And that gives a space for us to witness the unfolding of your true self as you move from one moment to the next. Everything we feel, be that stress, an experience, a memory, a pain, whatever it may be, that is form. And when we meet that form in a state of stillness, so what I mean by that is when we sit down in our meditation, we might have had a really bad day, we might be in pain, we might be sick. Yes, that is form. That's the current form where you are right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. No form is better or worse. Nothing is, a criticism or something that needs to be let go of. It's just a state of being. That's it. So when we sit down in our practice, we come with all the myriad of forms that we're holding on to. In any given moment, it's an infinite number of forms, right? Belief about the self, your stressors, what happened today, what's going to happen tomorrow, anything that we're holding on to, that's your form right now. When you sit in a practice that is based around stillness, then all of a sudden those forms lose their meaning. They have no context to attach to, and so they dissolve. When they dissolve, we're able to see things more clearly. We're able to see ourselves more clearly. And this is really the essence of healing, isn't it? If we let go of the form, then we recognize that these forms can become formless. In their formless state, they can't attach to us. So in many ways, this book is designed to be a companion in your practice. It's not designed to be something that you rush through, that you read in a weekend or whatever it may be. It's really designed to sit with you in your practice so that as you turn deeper into yourself and as you uncover that journey further and further in towards your own stillness, then there's a book, a companion, faithfully waiting to help guide you a little bit deeper. Of course, right now we are living in a very overwhelming time period. We have more stress on our plates than we can manage. There's always stuff going on. Information is now instantaneous, and it feels as if there is less and less space for us to find that silence, to find peace. But that's not true. We have to learn to carve out our own space of stillness and push back against that onslaught. And that's really a choice, and it's a choice that we have to make ourselves. As soon as we sit down on our mat, as soon as we engage in our practice, we are consciously making that choice. And so touching silence becomes a companion to help you move further into the practice that you like. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe Reiki really resonates with you. Maybe it's breath work. Maybe it's sitting in Zen. Whatever it is that you like, whatever it is that you enjoy, this book will help guide you beyond the attachments of the practice and towards the stillness that all of those practices help to cultivate. And so if the content of this video speaks to you, then I really do hope that touching silence may become a companion to your own journey into yourself, a companion to help you cultivate deeper stillness, a guide to help you recognize the transition from form to formlessness and the infinite possibilities that arrive when we actually cultivate deep, meaningful silence in our practice. Because indeed, what we cultivate in our practice becomes the way that we live our life outside of the practice, and that is super fundamental and super important. Just like in Reiki Ryōhō, Reiki is not about our time in the practice, it's not about healing, but indeed it's actually a path or a journey to living a more peaceful life. This is the summation of the book. This is what I hope that it conveys to my audience, and I do hope it is a faithful companion to you in your journey inside. And so I hope that the book supports you in your practice just as writing it has supported me in mine. Thank you very much, everybody, and as always, be well and in Goshu.